let's bring up LaMar Soup Campbell, who now the former vice president of player engagement, been with the Bears since 2015. So he survived the Fox to Nagy transition, but he's not going to survive to Eberflus. It's weird. Dude was on the hiring committee, and he was super well respected. Do you have anything on this? Because I don't. I got something a little bit on polls that I can give in a second. But do you have any understanding of what happened to Soup?
Yeah, I think it's very, very weird. He was certainly a guy who was very highly respected by the players. He was highly respected throughout the league. As you mentioned, he was one of the 5 people on the search committee that hired Ryan Poles, right? And I think that to then fire him at this juncture of the season, when most of those jobs are taken, number one. Number two, you call him on the phone to fire him while he's on vacation. Like, where's the respect in that? You bring in this new free agent class and this rookie class, and you allow Soup to get them acclimated to Chicago, do everything that Soup does with the players. And then after that, he's on vacation. You call him to fire him. Like, it's disrespectful. It's not the way you want to do things. And a source close to the situation told me that players inside that locker room are upset, and also players that are gone from that locker room have been like, yo, what's going on over there? And so I think it's setting a bit of a bad precedent in terms of his reputation for Ryan Poles, because players talk. And if players like somebody like Soup, who does so much for those players, right? So much in terms of getting them set up with housing, finding schools for them, working with them on terms of how they engage with the media, all those types of things. Anytime they have a problem, they go to Soup, and they've all loved him. And so when you get players talking around the league that you guys were not only got rid of a guy like that, but you did it in a disrespectful way, there are going to be a lot of questions. You're talking about going into the next season and having all this cap space, and we're going to be players in free agency. Well, you're going to be players in free agency when you got guys like Khalil Mack and Allen Robinson like, yo, what they do to Soup? Like, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing.
No, and okay, I get it. You're the guy in charge, Ryan Poles. You want your guys in there. Okay, that's sweet that he hired me, but I really, at the end of the day, don't feel like I owe him anything. But to your point, if you know the guy's going on vacation, you could do one of two things. You can bring him in beforehand. Hey, man, I don't want to ruin your time away, but we are already behind. Hirings have already taken place, and I want to make a change here. So I want to let you know before you go on vacation, so maybe you can decompress and think about what you want to do. I certainly don't want to wait until you get back, and I didn't want to call you in the middle of your vacation, and or just chill out and let him have his vacation. When he comes back, hey man, I need to talk to you, and then you bring him in and you have a real conversation. I don't know. Maybe Soup did something that was so wrong that he would be like, you know what, I get where you're coming from. And or maybe those two just aren't on the same wavelength. But this is a bad look for Ryan Poles. Bad.
It's a bad look. There's a way to do things, right? And if you want to get him out of here, if you want to bring in somebody that you work better with or whatever reason, fine. I'm told that this was not a merit-based move. It had nothing to do with performance, had nothing to do with players, right? Why are you doing this? And if you have your own reasons, fine, but do it in a way that isn't disrespectful. You decided that already. So before he leaves to go on vacation, say, hey, I know everybody's going to go home and get away for a little while. You need to talk to me before you go. And then you can do whatever you want to do. Maybe it has something to do with the 2 arrests. Let's talk about who got arrested, right? Who bought Byron Pringle in here?
Right.
He was with you. That's your guy. I just met him 10 minutes ago. You're going to blame that on me? You brought him from Kansas City, not me, right? That's like, these are, like, Soup puts out a lot of fires, things that don't even make it to the news. And he does his job very well. I think that, from my estimation, just watching how Soup kind of moves around the facility, watching how he moves around Soldier Field, I think that his presence can be intimidating to someone who is not yet comfortable in their own skin in terms of the position that they play. And sometimes we just want to get those types of people away from them for whatever reason. And I think that he's going to come to regret it. I really do.
Shaka, I like what you're saying here too. And Young Jersey, thanks for your comment. It's good to keep someone who knows the culture, both the organization and town. It seems personal. I mean, we don't know, but it's certainly a much on the table. It could be personal here for whatever reason. I didn't know Soup. But everything I heard from a lot of people is that he was incredibly well respected. You're saying the same thing here, Herb. And one thing I have heard about Poles, and none of us are looking to bury Ryan Poles right now before the first training camp starts at the end of July. But what I have heard is that he's a hard dude to get a read of. That walking around the building, there's I guess people just don't exactly know where they stand with the guy. He is not incredibly transparent. So I'm guessing, and by all accounts, it seems the way that he caught Soup way off guard. So this is a guy who, he keeps his he's close to the vest.
Close
here.
to the vest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fine, right? I think that's something that can serve you well as a GM publicly, right? Out in the media, it's fine if not everybody knows what you're thinking. And even as a first-year GM coming into an organization and say, hey, I'm not going to make any super strong allegiances. I'm just kind of evaluating the building. Some of y'all are going to go. Some of y'all may be able to stay. That's fine. I'm okay with him going through whatever process of evaluation that he wants to go through. Once you make your evaluation, move with respect. Do things in a way that people deserve. And to get a phone call on your vacation, that's not what anybody deserves. That's not what Soup deserved. Not somebody that was so well respected in that building. Not somebody who was on the hiring committee that brought you into the building.
Right. And I do wonder, too, you would think you got to call up George McCaskey, right? Hey, George, I want to fire the dude that you had on the hiring committee that brought me in here. You all right with that? And clearly George, I guess, is. But that's a quick trigger. That is you're not, I mean, I don't know. You're not, we all know this. You're going to try to squeeze everything out of the lemon here, but you're not exactly trying to win the Super Bowl this year. We're looking to have a major step forward. So it's an evaluation not only of the players that you have and who's going to be around going forward, but it's the same thing in the front office.
Absolutely.
So I don't get it.